Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to Shifting Perspectives. I am a sociologist, philosopher, psychologist of 30 years. I was working with a client this morning, and we are taught that mental illnesses look like X, and that's bullshit. Bottom line. The way we think mental illnesses are on the inside is never what they actually are. We observe a whole lot of shit on the outside, and then we conclude and we deduce all of these ideas, and most of them are wrong. This is actually called inductive reasoning and logic and philosophy, and it's garbage, which is why so much psychology is wrong. Knowing what's going on the inside and seeing how it looks on the inside is a whole nother realm. And this is where a lot of people will look up something like psychological entrapment, or Stockholm syndrome is a great example of this. And you look at it and there's all these descriptions. Oh, well, it's this, this, this. And the people who are actually in Stockholm syndrome and psychological entrapment will look at it and go, well, that's not me. That's wrong. And they'll throw it away. And then they'll go into therapy, and the therapist will ask them these questions, assuming that, oh, well, are you experiencing why? And they'll go, no, not at all. And then the diagnosis will come in, and it's not even close to the real problem, because the psychologists and the professionals think that the thing looks like why, but they're not inside the mind. They don't know. For an example, this is common, Stockholm syndrome. The books actually say the abused is in love with the abuser or the abductor. No, they're not. There's zero love presence. Inside the mind, it's absolutely a resource exchange and fear that's being played. There's no love, zero love. If anything, you fucking hate the moron that you can't get rid of. So you have resources and you have fear playing a factor. And you basically value their opinion because you value yours less. That's all. So you have less value for your opinion because you think your opinion is garbage. And this is all it is. And then you really believe that you have no resources, which means you need them. And you are terrified of them. So inside the mind of someone with Stockholm syndrome, you're actually dealing with a lack of self-value and overvalue of the person's opinion, your belief that you really do logically need them, that it isn't logical to leave them, even though you want to, and you're terrified of them. And on the outside, the psychologist says, oh, they're in love with them. No. And that is a perfect example of a mental illness looking like X on the or Y on the outside when it's really X on the inside. So there are people, I'll work with clients, and they will describe a situation to me, and they will describe, and here's the thing is when you're inside the mindset, it looks like Z. So they will describe Z, which is really X, because they don't have the words for it. But the books all tell you that it's Y, and it looks and is Y. So they're looking for Y, which is way out in left field, when you're actually listening to Z describing X. So I sat down and I was going through a few things. Like one of the things we hear is, I will be punished. This is a great example. You hear this a lot. I will be punished. Now that is what's being said. I will be punished, which gives you the impression of X. And the behavior will be love and adoration on the outside, which is Y. Now, I'm going to give you X. Punished is they take my food from me and they lock me up with chains. That isn't punishment. That's enslavement. They will threaten to starve me, or they will threaten to take away X. And what they're threatening to take away is literally your safety, your freedom, and your livelihood. It's imprisonment. Or one of my favorites that I hear a lot, and favorites is sarcastically being used here, is kidnapping and abduction. That one's common. So what's going on in this miscommunication? And this is a miscommunication between therapists and abused victims, is this right here. This is a perfect example of it. Is you think like the behavior of the patient the entire time is love and adoration for person A. And then they say, oh, I'm going to be punished. I'll be punished. And we don't think anything of it because, oh, well, they love them and they don't want to be punished. But when you really start to dig down into what punishment looks like, you find out this isn't punishment. This is abuse, enslavement, and abduction. And it's a completely different, oh, you're dealing with a slave. You're dealing with enslavement. You are dealing with psychological entrapment. This is an extraction that needs to take place. Completely different ballgame. But the way it's been painted, and this is just from the victim, the perpetrator is giving a whole different scenario. The perpetrator comes in with kindness. That's what narcissists do. And gentleness and love. I just want this person to be happy. I just want them to be better. I'll do whatever it takes. It's okay. And that's what you're getting on the forefront, is a very loving, caring person. But then you see the behavior. So you have the perpetrator A, what they're saying and what the smoke and mirror show is. You have B, what the victim is behaving like. You have C, what the victim is saying, which absolutely complements A. And then when you sit down and actually break down the words, you find out you're actually dealing with D. And this is the big problem. So people are in these abusive situations, and because therapists are claiming that the situation is Y, oh, well, that's not me at all. So what I'm going to be working on, this is my next project, is creating an actual, like a comparison graph of what the textbooks says it is, what actually is going on, and what it looks like to you, B, and what it looks like from the abuser's point of view. This is literally, this is going to be my chart. Oh, I get to come up with another name. This is going to be, it's going to definitely be a perspective or a point of view comparison chart. I like that. A point of view comparison chart. I like that. So POV comparison chart. And the goal of this 4-column chart is so you can sit down and see, this is what the textbook says it is. This is what the reality is. This is what the predator acts and says. And this is what you think it is. And then when you lay it out like that, you'll be able to see the miscommunication get cleared up, no matter who you are, whether you're coming in as a psychologist, whether you're coming in, so you can actually see it. And then you'll be able to, once you figure out where you are in any of that lineup, if any of it lines up, even once, that's your situation. So in the case of Stockholm Syndrome, I would say that the reality is psychological entrapment and Stockholm Syndrome. On the outside, they claim that it's, oh, you're in love with your whatever. But the predator is actually using threats, punishments to threaten. But you have the predator's words and you have their behavior. With the abused, you have what their words are, and you have their feelings. And that's really it, is the abused needs to compare their words with their feelings, and it's X. The predators, it's their words with their behavior. And then with the reality, this is what's really going on. You have Stockholm syndrome or psychological entrapment. And then with Y, that's just a bunch of nonsense. That's a bunch of that is inductive reasoning. I have no tolerance for inductive reasoning, none at all. And this is why. Is because you can look at something and it's just assumption. It's just 100% assumption without any solid basis. And all 100%, all of psychology in today's society is built off of inductive reasoning. From Freud and up, it's all inductive reasoning. So there's like a handful of people who actually use deductive reasoning. And when you use deductive reasoning in psychology, that's when you get it right. Everything else is just garbage reasoning. So, all right, I'm going to make my point of view comparison chart. That will help clarify a lot. But I did my first extraction when I was 15. And I watched my mother do an extraction and I watched her fail. And I've done 2 extractions. So extractions are like my mastery, my forte. This is what I've done. I know how to get people from an abusive, narcissistic situation to freedom. And then I know how to build up their life and get them out and get them supported. And then I provide them with all the resources to get them out there. So, yeah. Okay. I believe I have all of this in place now. Okay. I'm just decompressing and processing everything to make sure it's right where it needs to be. All right. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.